Hello everyone, welcome to Options with Doug, streaming live on Monday and Wednesday at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time on Bookmap Discord and the Bookmap YouTube channel. Before I get started, I need to go through the disclosures. General disclosure. All Bookmap limited materials, information, and presentations are for educational purposes only and should not be considered specific investment advice nor recommendations. Risk disclosure. Trading futures, equities, and options involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Here's my contact information. I'm on Discord. My name there is Doug at Doug P. That's the best way to get in touch with me. I'm also on Bookmap Discord. There's an Options-Doug chat channel. You can post questions, comments, and content related to the topics of my presentation and the topics of the channel that I'll go through in just a moment. I'm also on X. My name there is at Doug Pless. Here are the key tenets to my approach for trading. I believe that options trades and market maker hedging activity are key drivers of price in many stocks and futures, certainly in large cap tech stocks like the Magnificent Seven stocks, as well as the equity index futures like the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ 100. And for the S&P 500, SPX is the underlying index, SPY is the ETF version of that index, and the ES futures contract is a derivative of SPX. And when traders buy and sell puts, calls, in SPX and SPY, market makers take the opposite side of those trades and they hedge their delta exposure with ES futures. And for the NASDAQ 100, NDX is the underlying index, QQQ is the much more liquid ETF version of the index, and the NQ futures contract is a derivative of NDX. And just like the S&P 500, when traders buy and sell puts and calls in NDX and QQQ, market makers take the opposite side of those trades and they hedge their delta exposure with NQ futures. And we'll certainly see examples of both of these today. The focus of my presentation today and the focus of the Options-Doug chat channel is options order flow, the impact of options markets on stocks and futures, and the influence of market maker hedging flow on price action. I have a two-step process for trading, and the first is planning, and I use positional analysis. I look at how traders and market makers are positioned in the options market and how those positions change from day to day to develop a thesis regarding the expected trading range and volatility for the day, as well as their directional bias. And the second step in my process is execution. I look at real-time order flow in Bookmap and real-time market maker hedging flow on Spotgamma Hero to confirm my thesis, and for setups. And when I talk about setups today, I will be focusing on an underlying asset. Setups in that asset can be taken with futures contracts, shares of stock, or options, depending on the asset as well as the way you like to trade. Questions and comments are welcome, and I will be watching both the Options-Doug chat channel as well as the chat and YouTube for your questions and comments. Please feel free to post. I'll do my best to answer your questions. Here's my agenda for today, Monday, February 24th. First of all, I want to go over news items, economic data, events, and earnings for this week. Then I'll go through my positional analysis. Then I'll review some setups from earlier today. Then I'll take a look at the live market. And when I get to the live market, if anyone has any stocks they want me to take a look at, please let me know and I'll be glad to do that. All right, let's get started. And let's start with news items. Hello, Dan P. Welcome. Glad you're here. Dan wants to take a look at Coinbase. Sure, be glad to do that. All right, let's start with news items. There are some events coming up, news items, events, and earnings coming up later in the week. First of all, NVIDIA reports earnings after the market closes on Wednesday. That is of course, one of the most widely watched earnings reports. Then on Thursday at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time, GDP and durable goods orders data comes out. Again, that's 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Then the big data release for the week is at Friday, 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. That is the PCE data. That information shown here on the Spotgamma dashboard home screen of the events calendar. And here's the earnings chart. NVIDIA earnings Wednesday after the market closes. There are a number of other stocks that are reporting earnings this week that may have interesting moves after the earnings report. CRM also reports. Snowflake, INQ, and others as well. So of course, again, NVIDIA, the most widely watched earnings report of this week. All right, so that is the news for this week. Let's move on to positional analysis. I'm going to start with the S&P 500. This is the ES Futures and Bookmap. Turn up the volume dots just a little bit here. All right, so before I take a closer look at this chart, I'm going to take a look at a higher time frame. I'm going to go to SPX, the underlying index. This is a chart in Thinkorswim, 1 year, 1 day chart. This rally is still intact. SPX still within the linear regression channel, but in recent consolidation from the January expiration now to the February expiration. All right, so that is the 1 year chart. Rally still intact, but currently consolidating. Let's take a look now at a 30-day 1 hour chart. Again, sticking with SPX, the underlying index. It looked like SPX was going to broke out above this downtrend line. And then this move lower started last Thursday. Did test that downtrend line, found support there, and now resistance. So the move down began on Thursday, resumed on Friday, and then continued today. Now SPX trying to recover. All right, let's take a look at levels on this chart. First of all, the dash purple lines. We'll start with the expected moves. Dash purple lines showing the lower and upper weekly expected move. This is based on the options market, based on the closing price for SPX from last Friday. The dash blue lines showing the lower and upper daily expected move, also based on the options market, based on the closing price for SPX, again from last Friday. I do post those levels in Discord every day in the evening before in the Options Dash Jug chat channel. Note the daily expected move was quite wide for today, almost plus or minus around 54 points. And SPX trading within both of those ranges today. All right, the dark red lines in this chart are showing Spotgamma levels. These are based on gamma-weighted open interest. They're provided to Spotgamma subscribers on a variety of trading platforms. Again, this is Thinkorswim. I'm going to point out the key daily levels. First of all, the put wall moved back down to 5,900. That's a strike with large net negative gamma that can be expected to act as support. And again, that level did move down. Next level up is the absolute gamma strike at 6,000. That's a strike with largest absolute positive and negative gamma. That's where most of the gamma-weighted open interest is concentrated. That level also moved down from Friday. And remember, Friday was the options expiration, so we always expect some change in the levels after options expiration, as it usually takes several days for those levels to stabilize. All right, so again, absolute gamma strike moved down to 6,000. And then the next level up is the volatility trigger at 60.50. That is Spotgamma's proprietary volatility and gamma flip level. Below that level, market makers' position on the gamma curve is negative. In a negative gamma environment like now, market makers have to trade with price to hedge their delta exposure. That tends to enhance or increase volatility. And above that level, market makers' position on the gamma curve is positive. In a positive gamma environment, market makers have to trade against price to hedge their delta exposure. That tends to decrease or subdue volatility. That level also moved down from Friday. And then finally, the call wall remains at 6,200. That's a strike with large net positive gamma that can be expected to act as resistance. So overall, there was a bearish hat trick for SPX with the volatility trigger put wall and absolute gamma strike all shifted lower. And it was the same for SPY. Again, the volatility trigger put wall and absolute gamma strike shifted lower for both the SPX and SPY, two bearish hat tricks. And that was definitely setting up a bearish thesis for the beginning of the day. All right, let's wrap up our view of SPX with a 1-minute chart. Here's the breakdown that began on Thursday last week. Test of that downtrend line acting as support. Then the drop down resumed on Friday. Now that downtrend line acted as resistance. Sharp drop down on Friday. Now it looks like SPX is trying to recover. And SPX did trade down below this 6,000 absolute gamma strike earlier today, still below the volatility trigger, but in between the lower and upper daily expected moves. All right, let's go to Bookmap. Let's take a look at the levels on the Bookmap chart. So in Bookmap, I have SPX levels and SPY levels and key ES levels all on one chart. So there's that 6,000 absolute gamma strike level. SPX, that was noted as support in the Spotgamma AM Founders Note. And SPX, of course, did trade below that level. Now trading back above. Key for today was this reversal lower just after the cash open at the SPY 603 volatility trigger. And I did post that in Discord. That was a very nice short setup just after the cash open. We'll talk more about that in just a few minutes. Led to a very nice bearish opening drive. All right, so those are the levels in play for the S&P 500. Again, entrenched trader, hello. Stephen, hello, welcome. Glad you're here. All right, note there is a difference in price between ES and SPX. Today it is around 15 to 16 points. I'm using 16, so I'm showing SPX 6,000 at ES 6016. Those levels do change a little bit every day, and I do post those index relationships that I'm using every day in Discord in the Options-Doug chat channel. All right, let's take a look at NASDAQ now. Go to the NQ Futures and Bookmap. Pretty similar setup here. Reversal lower just after the cash open at the QQQ and NDX 0 gamma levels. All right, let's take a look at that. Let's take a look at the underlying index charts. And let's go first of all to QQQ. Zoom in on this just a little bit. So there's the reversal at the 529 0 gamma level just after the cash open. Quick drop down in QQQ almost to the 520 put wall. And QQQ did reverse a few points above that put wall. All All right, so those are levels in play for QQQ. Let's take a look at NDX. And here's the 0 gamma level for NDX, almost at the same place as the QQQ 0 gamma level. All right, let's go back to Bookmap now. So those are the underlying index charts. Back to Bookmap. So again, there's the reversal at the 2 0 gamma levels. Support just above the 530 put wall, and then an NDX combo level just below that. And it looks like I should have changed that 525 level. Let me see what that is. No, maybe not. All right, so that's NDX. We'll talk about setups in just a few minutes. Again, key levels, the 0 gammas above and the 530 put wall below. All right, shifts in levels for NASDAQ. And for NDX, also a bearish hat trick, volatility trigger, call wall, and absolute gamma strike. All three move lower. The put wall did move higher. And for QQQ, the volatility trigger and absolute gamma strike both move lower. And the call wall actually moved higher, up to 550. So well out of play for QQQ. All right, so overall for the S&P 500 and NASDAQ, bearish shifts lower in levels. And that is certainly in line with what happened last Friday with the big drop down. Again, we'll talk about setups in just a few minutes. All right, let's wrap up our positional analysis by taking a look at gamma. Let's go first of all to gamma notional. Market maker's position on the gamma curve at the beginning of the day, quite negative. This is gamma notional. Again, market maker's position on the gamma curve at the beginning of the day for the S&P 500, NASDAQ, and Russell 2000. All numbers are negative, indicating for an index, traders are long puts, market makers are short puts. Hence the negative gamma. They have to trade with price to hedge their delta exposure. And this view of trace here showing current view of gamma is quite interesting, showing there is a pocket of positive gamma, that's a blue shading, where SPX is trading now, and pockets of and negative gamma above and below. So a little bit maybe just showing something different from the gamma notional at the beginning of the day. Also, SPX still trading below the volatility trigger, shown as hedge wall here, but it is the volatility trigger. Same thing for an index. We'll step back in time. We'll go back around the opening. We'll go to 940 just after the open. So this is showing SPX at the open in this pocket of slightly positive gamma. Step forward in time. We'll take a look at some other heat maps, the delta pressure and charm, in just a few minutes when we take a look at setups. So according to Trace, SPX is trading at a pocket of positive gamma, and that could be slowing down price as it is moving up, and also as it was moving down. We'll take a closer look at that in just a few minutes. All right, so based on this, I was looking for high volatility this morning based on the very negative gamma notional at the beginning of the day. And Also, directional bias was bearish based on, again, the shifts lower in the SPX, SPY, NDX, and QQQ key daily levels. All right, let's move on now. Let's move on to execution. I'm going to start with the SP 500. And as always, I'm going to take a look at what options traders were doing today. Start again with the S&P 500. This is the S&P 500 index hero signal. This is showing options trades and market maker hedging activity in real time for the S&P 500 index components, SPX, SPY, XSP, and ES futures. And we'll zoom in on this in just a second. There's another hero signal that we can take a look at for the S&P 500, and that is the equity signal. This is showing options trades and market maker hedging activity for all 500 stocks in the S&P 500 index. Pretty similar charts. I'm also showing the total signal here. So that's the purple line. Price for SPX shown in white. The hero signal is purple. Falling hero signal indicates traders are selling calls and or buying puts. And a rising hero signal indicates traders are buying calls and or selling puts. We'll start with the index signal. Zoom in on this. And remember, the ES reversed just a couple of minutes after the cash open at the SPY 603 volatility trigger, 0 gamma level. Looking at the hero signal here, you can see this reversal. And that was just 2 minutes after the cash open, 9:32. Didn't take long. Price reversed lower. That is the index signal. Go to the equity signal. Pretty similar. This peak was a little bit sharper. But a pretty quick reversal just after the cash open. Again, at that 603 level. All right, let's go take a look at Bookmap now. Back to the S&P 500. Let's zoom in on this. And look at the order flow on Bookmap. Actually, let's zoom in a little bit more. So just watching this after the cash open, I always expect a reaction to the volatility trigger. And volatility trigger, when tested from below, I expect it to act as resistance. That's exactly what happened. You can see the volume dots that show market buy minus sell shift from green to magenta. So sellers were taking over. Buyers were exhausted. Aggressive sellers start to come in. Price moves lower as traders were taking negative delta options positions, both in the S&P 500 index components as well as the S&P 500 stocks. Aggressive sellers come in. That's shown by the following cumulative volume delta, also the magenta volume dots. Then sell stop orders also help to fuel that move lower. That's shown by the following yellow line. Note that large traders were fading that move, very typical behavior. They were buying weakness as price was dropping. With iceberg orders, large orders they used to hide their size. All right, so that's the move down. Again, fueled by aggressive sellers, sell stop orders, and options traders in all aspects of the S&P 500. All right, let's take a look now at, let's go to trace. And I'm going to shift from gamma to delta pressure. All right, what this chart is showing, let's zoom in a little bit. Let's go back. Let's go back to about 9:40, just after the cash open. And this chart does update, that the trace charts update every 10 minutes. Now the price, I'm using 5-minute candles, so those update every 5 minutes. But the information on the trace heat maps updates every 10 minutes. So you can see that SPX opened up into this, maybe show it down here, up into this red area of selling pressure. That's delta pressure, selling pressure. So it's kind of like the heat map in Bookmap, again, showing option selling pressure above market maker selling pressure. Let's step forward in time. And note now at 10 o'clock, SPX has moved down below the selling pressure zone and more of a neutral zone. Then again, remember this updates every 10 minutes. So this shows that SPX had moved down into blue buying support and reversed higher. And that is just after 10. This is at 10:10. All right, let's step forward in time. All right, so recently SPX has been bumping up against this red selling pressure. All right, so that's delta pressure. Let's go back to Bookmap now. Actually, let's take a look at Hero. All right, so this is the equity signal. Let's take a look at the index signal first. So this was providing a very clear leading indicator of this reversal. So there's the first reversal. Remember, SPX had moved down into that blue buying support zone. Options traders taking positive delta options positions. And SPX makes a higher low, slightly higher low, as traders continue to take positive delta options positions in the index components. Let's take a look at equities. Same reversal, again, sharper peak. But the equity signal did shift lower before it shifted higher again. And then price continued to move higher until SPX moved up into that selling pressure zone, and options traders have taken the foot off the gas. Back to the S&P 500 index signal. And this has also slowed down. And the S&P 500 consolidating. And Suresh asked, how do you monitor shifts lower in levels? All right, what I do is I have a notebook, a handwritten notebook. And every day I mark in this notebook the volatility trigger, put wall, call wall, absolute gamma strike, gamma notional, and then the support and resistance levels that are in the AM Founders Note. And I mark that for SPX, SPY, NDX, QQQ, Russell 2000, IWM. And there's another way we can do that. If you just want to take a look at, let's open up Equity Hub. So if you don't, and then I just flip the page and I compare it with the previous day. And then I draw a down arrow and circle it in red or blue. All right, so kind of a manual approach. You can also go to Equity Hub. It's on SPX here. We can go to History, and this shows the history of, and I have the the 4 key daily levels that I follow right here. So this shows the 10-day history of all those levels. So you can see bearish hat trick for SPX, SPY. This is a quick way of looking at it. And QQQ. I don't have NDX on here, but you can look at NDX as well. I don't have that in my tabs. All right, so 2 ways of doing that. I do it manually. You can also just look at this. All right, back to Hero. Let's go to NASDAQ now. So NASDAQ, just like the S&P 500, there are 2 signals that we can take a look at. This is the index signal. And actually, let's wrap up S&P 500 by taking a look at puts and calls, seeing exactly what traders are doing. So this is the index signal. You can see traders were buying puts. That's shown by the falling blue line this morning. Put buyers took their foot off the gas, started selling puts, started buying calls, price move higher. So put buyers driving the move down of the morning, and then right around 10:10, call buyers, put sellers came in and price moved higher. All right, that is the S&P 500 index. And let's take a look at the equity signal. And this was more of a bearish momentum trade with puts and calls moving down in the same direction. And note there was looks like a large institutional block order, some large institution selling a large number of calls, causing that vertical line there. All right, so that is the S&P 500 equities. Now let's go on to NASDAQ. I'm going to shift back to total. So this is the hero signal for NDX and QQQ, the index signal for the NASDAQ. Also bearish in the morning. Take a look at Mag 7. Also bearish. Traders taking negative delta positions in the Mag 7 stocks. Price moves lower. Let's go to Bookmap. Go to NASDAQ. Zoom in on this. Again, reversal lower at the 0 gamma levels. Just a couple of minutes after the cash open. Quick move down to the just above the 590 put wall. Similar subchart to the S&P 500. Aggressive sellers. Cumulative volume delta falling. Sell stop orders fueling the move lower. And large traders fading the move. Buying weakness with iceberg orders they use to hide their size. Options trades and aggressive sellers were definitely in charge for both the S&P 500 and NASDAQ this morning. All right, back to Hero. Zoom in on this just a little bit. You can see that initial peak, 932 reverses lower. Traders taking negative delta positions just a couple of minutes after the cash open. That's a Mag 7 signal. Similar in the NASDAQ index signal. All right, any questions about the indexes? S&P 500, NASDAQ. All right, let's take a look at some stocks. First thing I want to show is my stocks watch list. And I've been posting this every morning in Discord. I did add one stock to this Tempest AI stock that's definitely been in play. It is not a hero stock. I have actually sent a list of stocks that I would like to see in hero to Spotgamma support. Hopefully they'll add, and Tim was one of those. It's definitely been in play, pretty volatile stock, good for day trading. I'd love to see that in hero. All right, so other than that, this list is unchanged. So I'm going to go through some of the stocks on this list. And these stocks come up in a scanner early in the morning before the cash open. I'm looking for stocks that are making the largest moves up and the moves down. And other than that, TEM, Tempest AI, all the other stocks are available in hero. So let's start with BABA. That was on my watch list. BABA was in the news. I'm going to shift over to puts and calls now so we can look at stocks with puts and calls. BABA was, again, on my watch list. Sorry about that. AutoZoom problem still has not been fixed. Very bearish opening drive. Traders selling calls and buying puts. Shown by the falling orange line, falling blue line. And let's go to Bookmap, take a look at BABA. And BABA also had news today about investing, I think, $52 billion in AI infrastructure. Apparently, traders did not like to hear that. So BABA on the watch list that I posted in Discord, I did post that at 8:56 a.m. Very bearish opening drive. And again, BABA was already trading lower before the cash open. And here's the cash open right here. Large magenta dot opening print. Price reverse lower. Zoom in just a bit. Tone down the volume dots just a little bit. So you can see magenta dots all the way down, quick drop down as traders were buying puts and selling calls. Cumulative volume, delta falling, then flattens out. Let's go back and take a look at hero. Whoops. Let's take a look at total signal. Get a little bit more clarity. Bearish opening drive, providing a little bit of a lead there. Hero is dropping lower from the open, setting up this nice short, little bit of a pop up to 135, short at 135, as the hero signal was already falling. Then the options traders took their foot off the gas. Now price consolidating. So a bearish opening drive to consolidation. And again, stock in my watch list. All right, next stock I want to take a look at is Hood. That was also on my watch list. That actually had bullish news today that the SEC had dropped investigation into their crypto unit. And I think that was the same for Coinbase. Last Friday did not do much for Coinbase. Same here for Hood, Robinhood. Key here was the reversal at the hedge wall, the 52 hedge wall. And it actually took a few minutes for the traders to start taking negative delta positions. It looks like they might have even been following price lower. So initially, Hero was moving higher. Again, remember bullish news, and then shift sharply lower. But again, the key for Robinhood was the 52 volatility trigger. Volatility trigger right here. Hood breaks, opens up below VWAP, and aggressive sellers in immediately. And again, we saw just a few minutes later, traders started taking negative delta options positions. Then just after 10, when the indexes started to reverse higher, some aggressive buyers started to come in. You can see the shift in volume dots from magenta to green, indicating more buyers than sellers, more aggressive buyers than sellers. You're never going to see this in a candlestick chart, and it is very obvious in Bookmap, but again, you would never see that in a candlestick chart. So we can confirm move higher with the order flow in here in Bookmap. Cumulative volume delta shifts from bearish to bullish. So Robinhood traders taking advantage of the dip to buy. Let's go back to Hero. Shift back to puts and calls. So now some call buyers are coming in as price is moving higher. All right, so that's Robinhood. That was another stock on my watch list. One more, Palantir. I didn't see any real news on Palantir, but it was on my on the lower end of my scanner and also my overall Spotgamma Hero stocks watch list. So I added to my watch list. And another bearish opening drive. Just a few minutes after the cash open, traders started taking negative delta options positions. Price reversed lower and kept going lower until the options traders took their foot off the gas. Now it looks like some call buyers are coming in. Let's go to Bookmap. Palantir. Another bearish opening drive. And in this case, popping up, we saw that on the Hero chart. Price popped up. Whoops. Sorry about that. Trying to get this chart adjusted. Got a better short entry as Palantir popped up, then reversed lower. Broke down below VWAP. Aggressive sellers started to come in as traders were taking negative delta options positions. So that's Palantir. Find support at the liquidity, high liquidity at 90. Those are limit buy orders that come in at the order book. That's very typical for stocks. Limit buy orders, sell orders come in at the cash open. That's shown by the heat map and Bookmap. Again, you're never going to see that on a candlestick chart, maybe in a level 2. That 90 level acting as support, and price finally starting to move higher as aggressive buyers are coming in. You can see the green volume dots now and the rising cumulative volume delta. All right, next stock, let's go to Mag 7 stocks now. NVIDIA. Another short setup this morning. A little bit of a trend break. Aggressive buyers just A few minutes after the cash open, quickly exhausted. Sellers come in. Price breaks below VWAP. Price moves lower. Let's see what options traders are doing in NVIDIA. Back to Hero. Go to NVIDIA. Where is it? Zoom in a bit. Very nice call peak pattern. Sharp reversal. This is also an institutional kickoff. This vertical line shows options trades, large institutions selling calls, one big block order. I call that an institutional kickoff. And then other traders started coming in, selling calls, price move lower. Another what looks like an institutional kickoff here with puts. Large traders buying puts, looks like might have been 2 orders there. Not quite a vertical line, but then no follow through here. Few call buyers come in. Now the call buyers have come back in and put line is flat. Let's go back to Bookmap. All right, so again, very clear shift in order flow. Cumulative volume delta up, reverses lower, then flattens out. In the subchart here, I have this market pulse price change indicator. That I use to help me time entries. And what I'm looking for is the deeper pullbacks, and that is shown with the extremes. Green on the upside, magenta or red, bright red on the downside. In a downtrend, I'm looking for the green zones, the extreme on the upside. Those often mark the deepest pullbacks for shorts. So there was the first short. And then if you're looking for the very deep pullbacks, there was the second trend break. Price continues to move lower. All right, the target for the move lower was the high liquidity at 130. Price did not quite make it down there. And let's see what options traders did again. So remember, the put buyers had already taken the foot off the gas. And traders start buying calls after price reversed higher just above that 130 level. So it was really more aggressive buyers coming in, and then the call buyers followed on. All right, that's NVIDIA. Yeah, that was, Steven says, nice move on NVIDIA, definitely. Very similar story in a lot of these stocks. Here's Tesla. Another bearish opening drive. Let's zoom in on this. This is a very similar setup to Friday. Bump up the volume dots just a little bit. Again, a very similar setup to Friday. A little bit of chop in the morning, then trend break. Tesla breaks below VWAP. Aggressive sellers. Price moves lower. Let's see what options traders are doing. Go to Tesla. All right, this was a very nice call divergent setup. Looks like an institutional block order here. Institutional kickoff. Other call sellers follow. And Tesla gives you, actually, let me, there's that trend break setup that I pointed out in Bookmap. So call divergence, bearish opening drive that gave you time to set up, just like that setup from Friday. Trend break, a little bit of chop in the morning, trend break, but traders were already selling calls, setting up that very nice short as Tesla broke below that trend line. So call sellers driving Tesla price down. Then just like the indexes, or the indexes just like Tesla, reversed higher. Call sellers took their foot off the gas. Traders started selling puts. Then buying calls. At that point, orange line, blue line moving the same direction. Price moves higher. Put sellers take their foot off the gas. Call buyers take their foot off the gas. Price consolidates. All right, that's Tesla. So those are stocks that were on my watch list. Note, NVIDIA and Tesla are always on the watch list. One more stock. This was a very nice bearish opening drive in Microsoft, driven by call sellers. Let's go take a look at Bookmap. So this is a pretty consistent theme today. Bearish opening drives. That's a pretty sharp move for Microsoft. Almost 10 points lower. Down to the high liquidity at 400. Limit buy orders. That level acted as support. Price reversed higher. Aggressive buyers were already coming in. You can see the rising cumulative volume delta and all the magenta dots coming in as price was moving lower. All right, back to Bookmap. Hero. All right, so another bearish opening drive. Really driven by calls. Call sellers, now call buyers. And also aggressive buyers in Microsoft. All right, any questions? Dan wants to take a look at coin. There you go, Dan. Not really clear. Let's shift over to the total signal. See if we can get more clarity. I'm going to have to jump back. Not a lot of clarity in Coinbase today. And I did look at coin last week in Bookmap, and the bid-ask spread is a little bit wide for day trading, I think. Let me take a quick look at something. All right, so in Coinbase, the bid-ask spread is right now not too bad, about 21 points wide. So not too bad. In the morning, it's usually wider. So there you go, Dan. Coinbase overall, traders are taking negative delta options positions in Coinbase. All right, let's take a look at the indexes now. Go back to the S&P 500. Nice bearish opening drive, then bullish reversal higher. And the options traders have now taken the foot off the gas. You're welcome, Dan. All right, let's take a look at the equity signal. Also has flattened out. Let's take a look at Trace. Again, Trace bumping up into that red selling pressure above. Oops, that is going to zoom in on that chart. And let's refresh that. Actually, I meant to draw a rectangle around that level. All right, so you can see again, SPX bumping up into the negative selling pressure, delta pressure. Let's check gamma. Also in a brighter blue zone here. So according to Trace, SPX has been trading in a pocket of positive gamma. Let's check charm pressure. Charm pressure neutral, with red selling pressure above, blue buying support below, and pin target looking like right there. And let's see, that would line up with this GEX bar here, gamma exposure as 6010. So that is SPX 6010 looking like the potential pin target. That's showing more like 615. 6010 to 615 looking like the potential pin target for SPX. All right, does anyone else have any stocks they want me to take a look at? Let's go back to Bookmap. Go back to ES. Looks like ES may be finding support at the SPY 600 absolute gamma strike. Go back to Hero. Remember, Hero pretty flat. We'll zoom in a little bit on it. Go to Hero. Here we go. Zoom in a bit. All right, so the equity signal is starting to shift lower now. That 600 level may not hold as support. SPX is just above that pinning level at 6010. But the index hero signal also shifting lower. Let's check the SPX chart. SPX currently trading right around 6014. Kenobi wants to take a look at CMG. Sure. Let's see if it's available in Hero. Yeah, it is. All right, not much options activity. Shift to puts and calls. All right, so starting around 10:30, there were some call buyers and put sellers coming in. All right, so really just a couple of bursts of activity. Looks like large block orders, 2 large block orders buying calls, 1 selling puts, and that's about it for the day. Looks like CMG may be trading just a little bit lower for the day. And You're welcome, Kenobi. 50 is a reaction zone. Let's see. Let's go back to Hero. You know, 50 is still down below. We can go to Equity Hub here. Check CMG. All right, so 50 is not a Spotgamma level either. Those are the key daily levels for CMG. All right, everyone, I want to thank you very much for watching. Thanks for your questions and comments. And on Wednesday, we'll take a closer look at NVIDIA. We'll take a look at how traders are positioning themselves before the earnings report Wednesday afternoon. All right, everyone, have a great day, and I will see you on Wednesday. Thanks again. Bye.